There's a story that comes up again and again in hydration research on older adults. Someone in their 70s, drinking water constantly all day long, a habit they were actually proud of. And yet dizzy most afternoons, legs cramping at night, blood pressure readings swinging in ways their medication couldn't explain. Their doctor had checked their heart, their kidneys, their medication list. Everything looked fine on paper. Nobody had asked one simple question: how much of what you're drinking is actually reaching your cells? That question is the reason I'm making this video. And my job is going through the research that rarely makes it into a 15-minute doctor's visit. Today, I'm going to explain something recent research has made very clear, something almost nobody explains to people over 60. Drinking water is not the same thing as being properly hydrated, and for seniors specifically, that difference can quietly put real strain on your heart. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's probably missing from your own routine too. Before we go further, I want to say clearly, I am not telling you to stop drinking water or take any supplement without talking to your doctor first. Some of what I'm about to share needs to be personalized, especially if you have kidney disease or take certain blood pressure medications. Please keep that in mind as we go. Here's what the research actually shows. As we age, the body's thirst mechanism becomes noticeably less reliable. Recent studies have found that nearly 1 in 4 older adults are dehydrated at any given time, and that number rises to roughly 1 in 3 among seniors in long-term care settings. Here's the part that surprised me most when I first read it. This isn't only about not drinking enough. Many seniors drink plenty of water throughout the day and are still dehydrated at a cellular level, because plain water alone isn't always absorbed and retained the way the body needs it to be. This is where electrolytes come in, minerals like sodium, potassium, and magnesium. These minerals allow water to move into your cells rather than passing through. Without adequate electrolytes, you can drink glass after glass of water and still remain functionally dehydrated, which is exactly the pattern researchers keep finding in cases like this. Now, why does this matter for your heart specifically? When your body is dehydrated at the cellular level, your blood volume drops slightly and your blood becomes more concentrated. Your heart has to work harder to circulate that more concentrated blood through your vessels. Research has also linked long-term suboptimal hydration to increased strain on the cardiovascular system. And elevated blood sodium concentration specifically has been associated with higher rates of heart failure and broader cardiovascular complications over time. This isn't a minor inconvenience. It's a slow, cumulative strain most people never connect to their daily water habits. There's another piece of this that's especially relevant if you take certain medications.
Diuretics, often prescribed for blood pressure or heart conditions, work by helping your body eliminate excess fluid and sodium. That's exactly why they're prescribed, and they are important medications that I am not telling you to change. But they also make it easier to become depleted in key electrolytes without realizing it, especially if your fluid intake and diet aren't accounting for that extra loss. So here's what the research actually recommends, and what tends to make a measurable difference within about 2 weeks. First, don't just track how many glasses of water you drink. Pay attention to whether you're also getting adequate electrolytes throughout the day, particularly potassium and magnesium from food. Bananas, spinach, potatoes, and oranges are excellent, natural sources of potassium. Leafy greens and nuts are good sources of magnesium. For most people, getting these minerals from food rather than supplements is the safer, more balanced approach. Second, if you and your doctor determine that additional electrolyte support makes sense for you specifically, a small addition to your water, sometimes as simple as a pinch of salt combined with a squeeze of citrus, can help your body actually retain the fluids you're drinking rather than losing them quickly. I want to be very direct about something here. This is not appropriate for everyone. If you have kidney disease, heart failure, or take medications like ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics, additional sodium or potassium can be genuinely dangerous rather than helpful. This is exactly the kind of question to bring directly to your doctor, not something to experiment with on your own. Third, know the warning signs of dehydration that often get mistaken for normal aging. Persistent fatigue that doesn't improve with rest. Muscle cramps, especially at night. Dizziness when standing up. Confusion or difficulty concentrating. Dark yellow urine. If you're experiencing several of these regularly, it's worth a specific conversation with your doctor about your hydration and electrolyte status, not just a general checkup. Fourth, spread your fluid intake evenly across the day rather than drinking large amounts at once. Your kidneys can only process and retain fluid effectively at a certain rate, and drinking a large volume all at once often means much of it passes through without being fully absorbed, especially in an aging body. I also want to mention something that came up specifically in the research when I was reviewing this topic. Hydration isn't only a heart issue, it affects cognitive function too. Studies have found that even mild dehydration, as little as 1 to 2% of body weight, is associated with increased confusion, mood changes, and measurable declines in short-term memory and concentration. For seniors, this matters enormously, because these symptoms are so easily and so often mistaken for normal aging or early cognitive decline, when the real cause might simply be sitting in how someone is hydrating day to day. Before assuming the worst about occasional forgetfulness or fogginess, hydration status is genuinely worth ruling out first. I also want to address something that comes up constantly in this research and in reader questions. Many seniors intentionally limit their fluid intake because they're worried about needing the bathroom too often, especially at night. I understand this concern completely, and it's a real quality of life issue. But please don't solve it by simply drinking less throughout the day. Instead, front-load more of your fluid intake earlier in the day and taper it in the few hours before bed. This gives your body the hydration it needs during waking hours while reducing nighttime disruptions, without leaving you chronically underhydrated the way cutting back entirely often does. One more practical note. Caffeine and alcohol both have a mild diuretic effect, meaning they can increase fluid loss rather than contribute to hydration. This doesn't mean you need to eliminate your morning coffee, but if caffeine or alcohol make up a significant portion of your daily fluid intake, it's worth being intentional about adding plain water or an electrolyte-appropriate drink alongside them, rather than counting them as equivalent hydration. I think about cases like this often because they illustrate something that keeps showing up across the research. So many of the problems that affect older adults aren't dramatic or mysterious. They're quiet, everyday habits that seemed harmless, or even seemed healthy, that were working against the body in ways nobody had ever explained. Drinking water is good. Drinking water without the electrolytes your aging body needs to actually use it is where the real problem hides. You are not powerless here. A short conversation with your doctor about your hydration habits, your current medications, and whether electrolyte support makes sense for you specifically could meaningfully change how your heart and body feel day to day. Now I want to hear from you. Have you noticed afternoon fatigue, cramping, or dizziness that never quite made sense? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one, and your experience might be exactly what helps someone else finally connect the dots. If this video gave you something worth knowing, please share it with a parent, spouse, or friend over 60. A simple conversation about how they're drinking water could matter more than either of you expect. And if you'd like more of these practical, research-backed conversations, subscribing helps. Every week, I try to take exactly this approach, the quiet, everyday habits that seem harmless but quietly shape how your heart and body function over time. There's almost always more beneath the surface than a standard checkup catches.